Okay. Recording? Are we recording? Yes, we are recording. How are we doing today? I wanted to talk about strength, the strength card, and the principle of gender. Here's good old classic Rider-Waite-Smith. Tremendous amount of things that can obviously be said about this card that have always been said, right? So it's always understood that that happens to be the Empress, making the Lion the Emperor. You would understand this like the relationship between Freya and, forgive my horrible old Norse on this, but Berlithskundi, the boar that she rides as one of her war mounts. And so obviously it's got that Leo connection, that fire connection is involved, and everybody understands a certain principle about this. I mean, like, the lion, you'll note, sticking out its tongue, and it's licking her hand. You do not reach with your tongue at a threat, right? This is a cat's. It's part of a cat's sign of certain levels of affection. Its interest in cleaning you, right? You know, some people, they just got one of those cats that, you know, you get it anywhere near a human skin, and it's just like that, like forever, and it's like having this little brush, this little like hard sponge kind of thing, just giving like just like, you know, it's like going like that, right? Like it's satisfying an itch that you don't really have, but it's still satisfying you as if you were taking care of that itch, and it feels good. Right? That's the experience for the one here, right? There is the inherent strength represented by the lion, but it's so critically important that there's this woman here, because otherwise much of the meaning gets lost in the dynamic, right? Because then a woman would never think of this card in any personal manner. She'll consistently be saying, no, I'm not strength. That's obviously the men. That's obviously what I'm dealing with my husband, etc., etc. Right? So I have brought out, to discuss this principle, all of my strength cards from all of my decks. Let's see. Here we go. I wanted to actually go through a couple of cards from my Wildwood deck first, because of this strength card happens to fit into certain themes in the deck. So here we have the stag is what's understood as the strength card. The stag implies the great hunt as the object of the great hunt. Right? You hunt a stag, but here the stag and the hunter are one, because this is working with the animal head, animal headdress symbolism. And there's a number of cards that are like this. There are 3 that I've picked that involve antlers, but do not involve the animal head. So we have the stag, who it's basically a Sami shaman with a shield drum. The 2 of vessels. We basically have another stag and a horse. Interesting enough, right? And the stag is male. The horse is female. Here we have the ancestor. I believe this one is female. And here this is a drum, not a drum shield, with the proper. That's a bone. Using a bone as the stick. Looking back over here, of course, you've got that heart fire in the center, kind of being cultivated by them, but also there is the emotion that flows from their hands. There's water below and fire above. Then with these 3 here, we have the 9 of stones tradition. With this one, we have the shaman, and he has got antlers on his head. Just wearing an antler piece, not an entire face piece. This one, well, this one's he's got antlers on growing out of his temples. This is kind of like me with the nubs on my forehead. Which, you see from time to time just from watching me enough. And so this is the 9 of bows, which is like full power of the flame, if you will, and it's respect. And then this one actually is really the only one I saw where it was just a full beast. And then you have a stag here, and it's drinking from the Ace of Vessels. So there's something inherently emotional involved here with that, right? There's a deep emotional connection with the spirit that this represents. You take on this spirit to hunt it as an equal. So you dress like the stag to hunt the stag, to say, this is going to be an honorable fight because I'm going to hunt you on your level, right? This is you seeking out what you have to do, honoring the strength of what you're looking for. Because it's the bigger challenge, right? There's the inherent beating of the war drum. This one is, all these strengths are different. Let me show you the next one. Want to show you from my new deck. This is from my Dragon Tarot deck. This one I thought was fascinating. This was cool the way they went with it. Here you've got the lion, and he is just part of an alchemical dynamic going on with a dragon. A lion and a dragon representing strength. There's an implication in that you're looking at a principle that was abused by the Archon Yaldabaoth, thus making him the dreadful demiurge. But the thing that makes this stuff so damn interesting is that by pulling it apart, it gives you a chance to think about it in what is implied in its hybridization. Operating with our dark and light Caduceans around what seems to be, I guess, a very radiant, almost surrealistic kind of sun at the top of it. The rays look kind of tentacly. But this is also a condition of life, because there's a lot of growth underneath. So, are these elements present in the situation you are looking for your strength in? Is that there? Is that why you are not satisfied with your level of strength? What are you looking for? What's inherent in the environment when you break it down? And remember this, cats, many cats, maybe most, if not all cats, have greater reflexes than snakes. But that's because there's something inherently reptilian within this mammal, because it has this beautiful, flowing, elegant relationship with its nervous system. So there, as a mammal, it's kind of like my iguana, except high activity, active hunter. Right? That's basically it. It's basically a low maintenance cat. That's what my iguana is. It's a low maintenance cat. And it'll never hate me. It just won't necessarily be the snuggliest of things. Although Locke's had his moments when I'm lying on the bed and he just shows up to say hi. But anyway. Alright. So here, I like some of the information that they give you in this one. So this is the Strength card in my Crystal Visions tarot deck. And with this one, you have... This is effectively... I want to say that's the Queen of Wands, if you will, right? But it's a woman who controls the wand. And she's just got the one wand. The cat's chill. There's two eagles overhead, so there's an implication of a certain strength in the air as well. It puts air element as well as fire element into this, right? The wand is there, that's fire. The eagles are there, that's air. One could go out on a limb and say that Earth is there because of all these sunflowers that are popping up. The sun seems to be implied as off in the distance over here on this side of the card. It gets brighter on this side, although this looks like it's a sunset, maybe a sunrise. Hard to tell. There's no sense of direction. But it's also the direction that she is looking and that the eagle on the left is looking, and even the lion's looking that way. So the subjects of the card, their eyes are this way, and they're sunflower. But the sun is not in the card. It lurks outside of it. It's like the sun is a representation of the existential source of the inner strength. And that is also to be taken literally, because there are soul code genetics that come from soul, S-O-L. Soul, solar, we all know this. Da Vinci. Let's put a Florentinian scientific, artistic aesthetic onto this. This is the strength card here. Here, we got a man with an ass that's almost as nice as mine. Almost. Not quite there. And then there's a beast. It may be a lion. I think it's a lion. Could be a dog, but it's probably just a lion. And it's at his feet. So this one functions where you get the masculine again, kind of like with the stag, where it's just got the masculine, right? Feminine strength in these cards is often represented in other ways. Same with the other one, right? Either way, we all know how to integrate something for ourselves at a certain point. But it's showing you his back, not just his backside, and he's holding something in his fist. Maybe almost looks like a keys, and he's got something wrapped around his arm. But it's showing you his back. Why? Because your back is your stability. It's your posture. It's all of these things, right? I always had good posture, even when I was all the way out here. My posture was good. I cared about, like, even, when my back was fat, I cared about the spine looking the right way, the shoulders being squared off the right way, because I internally wanted to have a certain amount of dignity. And to hold that posture, I learned was not just beneficial because of me learning self-control, but that self-control helped me integrate painful lessons to gain self-respect, and thus my strength grew. And that's something that is an applicable strength for a man or a woman. Because you don't need that much back strength to get the rest of it in good order. Fortitude. This is the Hermetic Tarot deck. Daughter of the Flaming Sword, this one is called. And so with this one, we're talking about, like, this is a full-blown, like, Athena, right? This is Athena. This is, I got Joan of Arc intuitively comes to mind. Joni, my French sister. All right. And remember, my Germanic claim comes from my Frankish claim, right? I'm Norman French. And so you're seeing a representative of that represents bloodline at the end of the day, right? You've got this here that represents your bloodline, and that's just tradition. You know, it's just like I'm nothing, but even I have one. This has been in my house since forever. I think I've shown it before. So this here, the Purdy name. So this is a Scottish shit like this. This is a birthright for me. This is a legit birthright. And so that helps me narrow down certain certainties in who my ancestors are. So you get the North Node is chosen by the Hermetic Tarot creators for this card, right? And I would say that, yeah, the North Node is probably what you don't understand is the most powerful, compelling force in your solar level grid works. That's the North Node of your moon. Oh my God. That works on your unconscious mind. It's that thing that has a hard yes and a hard no about certain things. And it's often the cause of where heart conflict comes from because of the strength it takes to defend that principle. And it's a question of because you're going to defend it, because that's going to be built into your nervous system. It's a question of that when that triggers, do you have the composure, the resolve, and the force to defend it? And if you don't, are you still willing to die for it? That's the scary part, right? Because what really scares a lot of people is not getting in a fight, but it's dying in the fight. Or, you know, where, you know, you got no problem throwing a punch on the streets, but a guy in the street, there's no honor, there's no ref, no one checked him. You don't know if he's going to pull a fucking knife on you, and that terrifies you. That it's the blade that you imagined. It was the gun that you imagined. I was almost jumped in New York City many, many, many years ago, hanging out with my friend, going to a club that particular night, just hanging out, and a guy just like rolls up, says some bullshit about like Chinese food or something, and then he turns around a second later, and he's got his hand in his jacket pocket like that, and reptilian system on this fat kid was just like, whoa, no, just like, you know, I was, if it was fight or flight, it was flight. I was definitely not stunned, right? But I was like, nah, I'm out, ski bro, and my reptilian got me out of there, right? So that's how that works. So she has some sort of a, yeah, it's like a flaming chalice. Same thing with the strength card in the Crystal Vision. She's holding a primal fire source, right? And this primal fire source is what she uses with her offhand. She only needs one hand and a gentle touch. A man needs to master the gentle touch. A woman needs to master the direct touch. That's the big differences between the two. They're meant to be mastered without surrendering your state of gender. It doesn't mean that you all of a sudden flip yourself to be more yin than yang as a guy, and vice versa for a woman. It's a deeper trait, because the yin and the yang are not gender, but gender conforms to yin and yang's principles. They also have It's very there's odd marks on the lion's face. Just want to take note of that. And then there's this there's a 5-pointed flower that's off over here. But then there's a 4-pointed flower with what looks like a 2 of Wands motif over her heart. Over the center chest piece under an equilateral cross, or over an equilateral cross. Kind of like the way you tie a bow on a present. And her hair is down, hanging where it likes to naturally fall. Similar to me. And, oh my god, that's what this is. Very clever. Just realized what this is. This is Thor. Meaning it's not Thor. This is Thrud. This is Thor's daughter. That's Thrud. Thrud and her iron fist. Because she rules after the Ragnarok. She's one of the matriarchs. The strong women come forward, inspired by the men who had to be strong and fell in the Ragnarok. But they lived on and were able to keep their traditions. So I hope that this has painted quite an eloquent picture for you. You guys have a good night.